You want to talk about pairings?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about pairings for things that I drink, since I don't drink alcohol. I'm going to talk about the stuff that I do drink in volume.
Perfect. So
And that is coffee.
Coffee. Perfect. So let's talk pairings now.
Talk pairings.
And you're going to talk about the stuff that you know about.
I'm going to talk about the stuff I drink with cigars that are going to accentuate the flavors, potentially cancel out some of the flavors so that some of the background flavors can come up front. I drink coffee. I probably drink too much coffee, but I drink coffee black. I like what we use. We have Distretto, which is a local coffee roaster that roasts a phenomenal blend just for ICC, which was Mexican Dominican.
Mexican Nicaraguan.
Mexican Nicaraguan. 50-50 blend of that cigars or of that coffee. It is incredible. But with the right cigar, the cigar and the coffee flavor and the tobacco flavor actually neutralize each other. And I have found one cigar in particular that is magic with coffee, and it is the La Coliacion from Crown Heads. That particular cigar, I don't know what it is. I suspect that the pH of that cigar, and it's a Nicaraguan cigar, but the pH of that cigar and the pH of the coffee is dead nuts on, where it literally scoots all of those flavors away and lets all of the background notes of the coffee. And I'm talking about the background notes are a 2 and all of a sudden they're an 8. They're so apparent because it's like the two counter each other and let everything else dance. And it is, when you hit that pairing, it's like magic.
Here's a magic pairing for me. Chocolate milk. And I see it catching on. I'm glad more and more people are drinking chocolate milk with a cigar. You get the lactose that sits on your palate and it holds it there and holds the chocolate on there. You get the chilled drink of a cold chocolate milk, which mitigates the heat of the smoke itself. And then when that heat does come in, it almost seems as though it crystallizes the sugar that's on your palate. So you get something, any cigar works well with it. It is a fail-safe.
Yep, absolutely. I drink soda, but one of the things that I love to pair with a great cigar, usually a darker cigar, is a really high-quality root beer. Just the flavor that's left behind, that the cigar just kind of scrubs some of it and just leaves that sweetness and that creaminess ends up being accentuated. So I'm a big fan of that. Of course, there's a lot of spirits guys on here. There was this old theory of you pair dark to dark, light to light. But then Edgar was talking about how he does a contrasting pairing. So he's going to do a dark cigar to a light wine, a white wine, or a lighter spirit to create that counter. So one of the things that we learned in the sommelier class for tobacco is that you can either try to pair point to point. So let's say the pH balance is a 6. You try to get a cigar that's a 6 pH balance and a drink that's a 6. But the example that they use of contrasting flavors would be, from a pH perspective, tomato soup, grilled cheese sandwich. Those two have totally opposite, but they go together. Right. So I think that's where Edgar kind of takes that contrasting method as his favorite.
So a good rule of thumb is you want to go very similar or very far apart. You don't want to half step that. So if you go with a very high proof bourbon or something that's got some bite to it, go with a cigar that also has bite, so that way they can combat each other in the areas where they need it, and they can come to life in the areas where they don't. And then on the far side of the spectrum, a heavy steak dinner where you think you want something very heavy, take that with a nice mild cigar afterwards.
Yep.
So go really far apart, or if you really want to do it right, go with, that's exactly right, Socorro tequila or any new aged sipping tequila that has that butterscotch sweetness, and use a Mexican San Andreas wrapper which has chocolate to it. That is the peanut butter cup type of experience. Very, very nice.
Yeah, I think there's my go-to every day is Diet Dr. Pepper. You get the cola which is great, but the tobacco kind of scoots the cola aside and leaves that cherry on your palate. It's really, really nice. Sean Ratz is talking about his makers. He likes the Maker's Mark. Looks like SSW Club Pick, and let's see, and he's pairing it with Principal Black and Gold. So, you know, one of the things that we're in the process of doing is developing a database. I'm not going to go into the details because there's a lot of testing that has to happen, but we're actually going to develop a database that will be a pairings database. And what we have to do is be able to identify what the pH levels are of everything, and then we can recommend something that's point on, what I would call point on. If they're both a 6, they're both a 6, but also be able to identify contrasting so that you're a long ways away, but maybe help you avoid a 4 and a 5 that might be enough that throws off that flavor when you pair it together.
So look out for that. That is going to be a massive project in which
But nobody's ever done it.
no one's ever done it. We're going to try something completely different that will be the perfect pairing sheet for you. And this is the first time we're really talking about it, but that is going to be, that'll pop back up a long time from now.
Yeah. No, but I'm excited because it's one thing to have the idea, it's another thing to have the method to get it done. And lo and behold, one of our members is a freaking scientist at UNT, and he has all the equipment to do it. So
gonna be awesome.
Now we're just going to have to get guys like Sean Ratz that have huge collections, or Rodney Smith with SSW, and have huge collections of liquor that we're just going to have to be able to, you know, stick that sensor in there. But then at that point, of course, it's contaminated. They'll have to drink it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
That's our final push there.